this is, this has become a big issue because of the debate this week. Weirdly, J.D. Vance cannot concede that Donald Trump won in 2020, although he also will not say that Trump won, and he will not say that Trump lost, at least this week. Now, in 2020, after the election, at a speaking event in Michigan, when he was ramping up, right, and he was deciding, oh, now I have to remake myself because I want to have a political future, he said this to is this the one that is with the Good Liars?
Yes.
Oh, it's the guy from the Good Liars, right? He's following him. Go ahead.
Who won the 2020 election?
We're going to go to town hall.
Just answer, did Donald Trump win, yes or no?
Yes.
He did win?
Yep.
So will you concede? Will you concede? If your opponent gets more votes, will you concede?
I really feel bad for you, man.
I just want to know, if your opponent gets more votes, will you concede?
I really feel bad for you, Matt. So this is one of the Good Liars, who is
that's Jason Selvig, yeah.
Yeah, Jason Selvig, who got J.D. Vance to say, yes, Donald Trump won. And not only is like, Donald Trump won? Yup. And so, of course, Jason asked the obvious question. Well, in that case, if you win the most votes, will you concede, seeing as how that's the way you appear to think that elections work? But we don't have to go back to 2020. I mean, that gives you a hint of where he was 4 years ago. Even today, he's speaking. Yeah, here. Do you have this one? Yep. This is at, I don't know, wherever Vance is campaigning today.
Trump often describes the 2020 election as rigged, and he often uses the term to describe what he sees as fraud in that election. Trump said that again yesterday at a rally in Michigan. Senator, would you use that specific term rigged? You have said in the past you have concerns about election integrity in the past and going forward. And do you concur with the president that the 2020 election was rigged?
Well, look, I'm from Ohio. I'm not from the South, but I think in the South there's a phrase that really works. Bless your heart.
He's in Michigan.
Look, man, first of all, we're focused on the future in this election and in this campaign. If you look at what President Trump says, what I say, we are focused on.
Yeah, he's not going to answer that question.
And Trump often describes.
What?
This is a question he should be getting all the time. I mean, because it's not like the concept of you got less votes, you lost the election is only something that is encapsulated in the past. I mean, they're running again. They're going to be subjected to the same sort of rules, theoretically. You get less votes or you get less you lose in a state, you lose their electoral votes. Seems like it's also going to apply to the future. But it's unclear whether J.D. Vance subscribes to that concept.
It's a problem for them because we talked about this earlier, but we hate Harris campaigning with Liz Cheney, but she is, for moderate Republicans, the avatar of a Republican who conceded that Trump lost the 2020 election. And
can we just say non-Trump Republicans? Because I don't think that, I mean, Liz Cheney or Lynn Cheney was up there saying that Democrats eat babies or kill babies after they're born.
She's an avatar for moderate Republican voters. I don't think, or whatever,
non-Trump Republican.
Okay, center-right voters who don't like Trump that this Harris campaign is trying to get, and we have issues with some of that strategy, but clearly this is what they're pursuing. And I do think, even though it's not our politics, it puts Republicans in a bind, because the numbers in terms of independents who think that Trump lost the 2020 election, it's like 63%. It's very, and the number that think that it's unclear, that's even more marginal, and the don't know is in between there, right? So they think they have a real advantage on democracy. They think they have a real advantage on the big lie. And so the more that Vance is asked this question, the more people are reminded of it. They think of him as extreme. Jan 6 equals extremism. And so that's the partisanship that the Democrats are going to try to ride into November. And, it's not left politics, but I actually do think it's an effective strategy. We'll see how it pans out.
Remember Trump's 2020 election interference case? He pled not guilty, but only after making it clear that he, quote, had every right to do so. Ground News found 90 sources covering this with significantly less reporting from the right. And going through these articles, you can see there's no mention from conservative outlets of what looks like Trump's confession. Now, the left points this could be the very thing that helps Jack Smith finally convict him. This type of selective reporting is the exact problem we've been talking about with today's news. Rather than adding clarity to an already confusing election season and political landscape, the news can easily contribute to it. That's why we're longtime partners of Ground News. Their platform is designed for people who want to go beyond the headlines to deeply understand today's current events from every perspective. And with Trump and Harris often at the center of very selective reporting, I highly recommend following the news on the debate and the rest of their campaign here, so you can avoid being manipulated by the news you see and the news you don't. I think their mission directly aligns with what we try and do here on our show. Plus, they're independent and subscriber funded. But my viewers get 40% off their top tier Vantage plan. Go on to ground.news/majority or scan my QR code to compare coverage with context you can't find anywhere else. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.